U.S. warships are expected to arrive in the Black Sea this week as a demonstration of the Biden government's support for Ukraine as concerns mount that Russian President Vladimir Putin is considering attacking its neighbor. The Kremlin is overseeing the largest movement of Russian troops, tanks and missiles along the Ukrainian border since the annexation of Ukraine's Crimean Peninsula in 2014, according to Ukrainian and US officials. Russia has conducted at least 3 military training exercises adjacent to the Ukrainian border since mid-March. Last week, President Joe Biden made his first phone call to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskiy since entering the White House and, according to a White House statement, affirmed the United States' unwavering support for Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity in the face of Russia's ongoing aggression in the Donbas and Crimea. The dispatch of warships to the Black Sea is meant to underline Biden's affirmation. Fighting between Ukrainians and Russian-backed rebels in Ukraine's Donbas region has been intensifying since the end of January, and senior Kremlin official Dmitry Kozak, who has blamed Ukraine for the clashes, has issued an ominous warning that a full-scale conflict would likely mean the beginning of the end for Ukraine, a statement viewed in Kiev and Western capitals as a threat. Dmitry Peskov, the Kremlin chief spokesperson, has not disputed a military buildup is taking place, but he told reporters in Moscow that Russia moves its armed forces around its territory at its discretion. Ukrainian President Zelensky visited the Donbas front lines last week and bewailed the big escalation. A Ukrainian soldier was killed and another wounded in Donbas on Saturday, Ukrainian military officials said, which is the fourth combat-related fatality for Ukraine's forces this month alone. The Ukrainians say the soldier died after Russian-sponsored forces opened fire with automatic grenade launchers and 82mm mortars, weapons prohibited under the Minsk peace deal, a ceasefire protocol signed in 2014 that has been often ignored. Since his surprise election in 2019 to the presidency in Kiev, Zelensky has been urging for a new round of peace talks involving other Western leaders. Shortly after his landslide election victory, he appealed to Putin directly, saying in a video, "We need to talk. We do. Let's do it." Later that year, the Kremlin and Kiev agreed a prisoner swap, sparking hopes a peace deal might be in the offing, one that would halt the 7-year conflict between Ukraine and pro-Russian separatists backed by Russian forces. Some analysts remain divided over what the Kremlin's intentions are with military buildup and divided over whether Putin really intends to launch a military offensive or is simply testing the resolve of the West and Zelensky, improvising an exercise at the threshold to see what might happen. What is alarming some Western diplomats and analysts is the fiery language being used by Kremlin officials, along with the nature of the coverage of the crisis by Kremlin-controlled Russian media outlets. They are reporting Kiev is planning an offensive on the Donbas and have been highlighting comments by Kozyk, Deputy Chief of Staff of the Presidential Administration, suggesting Ukraine may be plotting ethnic cleansing in the Donbas. Peskov, President Putin's spokesman, said Friday the Kremlin fears a resumption of full-scale fighting in eastern Ukraine and would be ready to take steps to protect Russian civilians in the Donbas. Ukraine's military chief dismissed the Russian claims that his country's armed forces are preparing to launch an attack on the breakaway east, and, along with other Ukrainian officials, accuses the Kremlin of looking for a pretext to mount an offensive. But other analysts and diplomats caution that the Kremlin is whipping up a frenzy over the Donbas more for domestic reasons than international ones, and that Putin is looking to distract Russians from the ongoing agitation for the release from jail of firebrand opposition figure Alexei Navalny, whose health is reported to have worsened in prison. They say the military buildup may be part of an electoral strategy ahead of parliamentary elections in Russia September. Putin's approval ratings are falling, and his United Russia political party seems destined for setbacks in the polls. Shaping an emergency short of a full-scale war could boost the prospects of United Russia, allowing the party to benefit from a wave of patriotism, they say. Taras Kuzio, an academic at the National University of Kiev Mohyla Academy, doesn't believe the Kremlin is preparing Russia to launch a full-scale invasion of Ukraine, because that would lead to a long war and the complete breakdown of Russia's relations with the West.